Last question. We're running out of time. Darn it. Again, in the nature of a lesson. New York Times, this past Friday, as we sit here speaking, has a story on the speech that Secretary of Defense, your immediate successor, Robert Gates, gave at West Point.
I have not had a chance to read it carefully.
Well, okay. No, I don't doubt it. Let me just let's see if you don't want to touch this question, then we'll set it aside. But let me ask the question. It's just a quotation from the New York Times. Mm-hmm. Quote: Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates bluntly told an audience of West Point cadets on Friday that it would be unwise for the United States to fight another war like Iraq or Afghanistan. Now, it quotes Secretary Gates, "In my opinion, any future defense secretary who advises the president to again send a big American land army into Asia or the Middle East or Africa should have his head examined." Close quote.
Yeah.
How do you construe that?
I don't know of any secretary that did advise him to do that.
Fair enough.
For an opener. Second, I think Secretary Gates is doing generally a good job. Third, I don't know what the article said or what. First of all,
you haven't read the speech,
so
let's
stipulate
it's in the newspaper
doesn't make it so.
We know that.
The reality is that I don't believe we have the ability in our country, and I wrote a thing called Guidelines for Using Military Force in March of '01, and it's on the website. And in it, I say there are certain things we're not capable of doing, and we have to have a reasonable assessment of what we can do and what we can't do militarily. And I don't believe we can nation build. I just don't think we can do it. We don't. The cultures are different around the world. The histories are different. The circumstances are different. And you don't want to create dependencies on the part of other people. We can encourage them. We can wish them well. We can give them a chance. And I think Afghanistan and Iraqi people have a chance at having reasonably good futures as they move towards representative systems of government and could even be a model in the region.
Actually, said that was...
But I don't know anyone who's suggesting putting large forces in those countries.
All right.
Thinking they can nation build for them, because I don't believe we can.
Let me flip the question. This truly will be the last question. It is a question about the United States and what we're capable of as a question of political will in our institutions. Korean War, 33,000 deaths and an ambiguous outcome. The peninsula is divided to this day. Vietnam, 55,000 American deaths, and we lost. Iraq, fewer than 5,000 deaths. Every one of them to be regretted, obviously. But by historical standards, that's a small number. We projected our power halfway across the world, and within a matter of single-digit number of years, there is a new government that has a chance, that is now democratic and has a chance of making a go at it as a democratic nation. I would argue that by historical standards, there's a pretty good case to be made that that represents a stunning success. And yet you go on and get interviewed about Known and Unknown by Andrea Mitchell and John. Everybody is treating you like some sort of villain. How come? Where's the hostility? Why does the nation fail to appreciate what took place?
Well, I'm not a psychiatrist. So I can't tell you what's in the minds of the people who interview me. I think if anyone goes into the website and looks at what actually took place, what were the decisions, what were the arguments, what were the issues, what were the pros and cons, they'll learn that much of the narrative that's out there is quite different from what actually happened by the people who were there and were involved in it. And I think that's a useful thing. I also think that you need time to pass over things, to get perspective. We're fighting, and have been, the first wars of the 21st century. I mean, there wasn't even television in World War II.
Right.
What are we doing today? We've got Facebook and Twitter and 24-hour news and emails and Sony video cams. Everything happens like this. And I don't think the inner gyroscopes of people have adjusted to the glut of information. A lie trips around the world 3 or 4 times while the truth is still getting his boots on, right, as Mark Twain said, I think. Right. And what does that mean? Well, it means that when somebody writes in Newsweek that somebody flushed a Koran down the toilet, even though it never happened, riots occur in 3 cities and people are killed. And weeks later, Newsweek writes, oh, if there was any portion of our article that was inaccurate, we're sorry. The problem is the people are already dead that they're sorry for. Now, how do you deal with that? Well, we'll figure out a way. As a people, we'll figure out a way. But we haven't yet. And we're still adjusting to it, this enormous flood of information and glut that's on us at every moment, a lot of it which is not true. A lot of it just comes up, and to get rebutted would take full time to rebut it.
We'll figure out a way. Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, author of the New York Times #1 bestseller, Known and Unknown. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Uncommon Knowledge, I'm Peter Robinson. Thanks for joining us.